able to visit me because I'm a criminal. At that point, I was dressed and undressed by a male nurse, and I requested a female.
A male nurse?
A male nurse in the hospital, yes. And I'm so private, I can't even see a male doctor, you know, in my culture. It's just I have to be a female. So I'm sure you can imagine how uncomfortable that all of that. I was unable to walk. I was taken to the car, then was taken to jail. And real briefly, I want to explain to you, which is really going to sound a little bit confusing, because if you're going to jail, you know, you're panicking. But in my case, I was locked in the back of the car with the two men whom abused me and brutalized me, driving me, and the road was dark, so anything could have happened. And my heart was just palpitating. Are they going to stop this car again, or what are they going to do? And at the time when I saw the light of the jailhouse, I was happy. Because I realized then that there's going to be more people at the jail, so they can't really abuse me or brutalize me anymore. And when I got to the jail, they kept me for excessive period of time. When my husband called, he said, well, she's not cooperating, you know, well, we're going to keep her. And that's just because they're telling me to admit I screwed up. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that, because I'm not the one that is at fault here. So to make a long story short, and I always believe in fighting for my rights from when I was a child, I decided to fight it because it wasn't just. And basically, the state was afraid of me bringing a lawsuit against them for police brutality. They have conspired with the physical therapy company in which I took physical therapy for 6 months. They conspired with my witness to turn against me. They have went out and solicited people that did not see what's happened to testify, and all of that came out in court. For example, there was a question in which my attorney asked the two managers who supposedly saw the incidents, and he said, what did you do when you saw all that was going on before the store? One of them said, well, you know, we walked away. He said, both of you say yes, we walked away back in the store. When the other one came in this town, he said, no, we both went out to intervene. You had a situation also where one of the witnesses said she pointed in the police officer's face. The police officer said no, she was respectful. So it really was a mockery of the judicial system. But just to, you know, I don't want to be Lancelot here, because there's a couple of little issues that I wanted to go into. I was convicted based on the testimony of my own lawyer. And a lot of people told me even now, why didn't you get a lawyer? I've got a lawyer at that point, and he joined with the state in conspiracy and testified against me.
Was this a state appointed?
No, I paid. After that incident, the whole thing, I was penalized. I lost everything because I have to hire more than one lawyer. So I paid that lawyer. And just to come back a little bit, the state main witness was convicted at 40 counts based on my investigation, 40 counts of welfare fraud. Madam Foreman was also a convict, and they got away with what they did just so that they could vote against me and convicted me. So I was convicted of obstructing the police officers and all of that. And then as this proceeding went on, I felt sick one day and I went to the doctor. The doctor said, guess what, you're pregnant. I was devastated. I called a friend of mine and talked to her over the phone. And she said, Shelley, do not grieve God. She said, you don't know because of this child that maybe you wouldn't have to go to jail. And as time went by, the case went to appeal. So remember, you have to even pay a lawyer to appeal the case. And the appellate court upheld it as erroneous as it seems with all of what I've told you. Even at one point, one of the witnesses came to the door. He didn't know my husband during the trial and say, show me her. I don't know what she looks like. This is supposed to be a witness who saw what's happened. So my husband heard and told the attorney. It was just going out and getting anybody that they could so that, you know, if they convict me, then I wouldn't have too much of a good standing to file a police brutality lawsuit against them. So back now to the pregnancy issue. The day, this is what's amazing, the day I was supposed to go to be sentenced, I went into labor and I went to the hospital and gave birth to one of the most beautiful daughter that somebody could lay eyes on. And so they have to postpone the sentencing hearing for the next week. And when I went, the judge said, just as my friend told me over the phone, said, the only reason why you will not be going to jail today is because of this baby. But what they have inflicted upon me was to tell me that when I go and get counseling for what have happened to me, that I was getting help from my own problem. So it's inflicted so much mental problem in me that the policeman handled me, brutalized me, injured, did all what they did, and then they said it was my fault and it was my problem. So what they're saying, I deserved what happened to me. But what's happened is that the state did not give me any time to recuperate from giving birth. And as you as a woman knows, when a woman gives birth to a child, how vulnerable condition you're in. I was sentenced to go to a mental institution and to do community services, and they fined me thousands of dollars also. So basically, while I was there, I was grabbed up and manhandled and pushed down by mental patient. And I remember two ladies that are my hero today, Dana and Rose. Rose is a Canadian lady, and Dana is a Georgian. And they were so sorry, they were crying to find out that any human being could possibly treat somebody in that manner. I was just so ill. There was just a lot of stuff happening to my body. I was weak. I couldn't stand up. And the reason why they're here, they stood up for me when I couldn't, because they got the patient off of me. And some days they said, go home and be with your baby, and we're going to cover for you. And I will never forget what these two ladies did for me. The reason why I want to bring this into this other situation was that it's not the first time of being brutalized and unjust at the hands of the state of Georgia. And just to show people, when you decide to stand up for your rights, what kind of calamity will these people put you through? Is that they don't think you have rights. They don't think that you should stand up. They think that they'll just knock you down and you lay down and just say, well, the state did it, so what? But to me, the failure to stand up against inequality and injustices constitute no justification, no matter how difficult the task may be. Because the same injustices that you have ignored along the way will not only reoccur, but will continue to be the greatest threats to your liberty wherever you go.
You're right about that.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Ms. Shelly Nana. You've been a wonderful inspiration just to hear your story. We hope this story will inspire others that have had some type of grievance with major corporations and they have been stronghold, and that justice will finally be brought out to light. Again, thank you for joining On Point. I'm Karen Shirley, and we'll see you next week, same time, same place.
I'll do one other thing. I want you to look in the camera again and introduce yourself again, and just real briefly talk about who you're against and what you want to happen. That's all.
You ready? You ready?
Yeah, as soon as Karen get out of the way. Okay, go ahead.
Again, my name is Shalili Jahannanon, and the injustices were inflicted against my family by State Farm Insurance Company, Travelers Insurance Company, Regions Mortgage and its conspirators, Everhome Mortgage Company. And some of the other conspirators also, which filed fraudulent claim against my family, they were Goodman Gable Gold, Adjusters International, and Rollins Construction. And the name of the judge is Judge David Darden. And I just briefly want to touch base, in which we forget, in the fact that 6 years after our disaster, we have not received any insurance compensation, but the judge, David Darden, have basically embezzled funds in the amount of over $128,000, which was deposited